Hello everyone, Matt Hoots here with Sawhorse, and we're here for another episode of Fresh Air Fridays and also our home inspection series. And I'm going to talk about how to keep mold out of your house. Well, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you are not getting water from the outside into your house, and that is through something called a weather-resistant barrier. Now, weather-resistant barrier is not waterproofing. It does allow water to get through, just not bulk water. So you want to make sure you have a certain perm rating that can come through this. So if you have the exterior cladding on your house, you want to make sure you're either using something like the Huber zip system or a liquid applied membrane or something like some sort of house wrap to put on there. And those are all good primary weather resistant barriers. Now in this case we're working with a house and unfortunately only has one barrier on the house, and as soon as you apply stucco or masonry to that, that becomes your sacrificial layer for weather resistant barrier. And unfortunately then you have no weather resistant barriers as soon as that masonry hits it. So you want to have two layers. So in this house what we're going to do is take off all of the stucco, and we've got OSB underneath it. Then what we're going to do is make sure all the flashing and all the penetration points are sealed, and then apply a liquid applied membrane to this. Now if we're building this house from scratch, we probably use something with that barrier already in it, like the zip system, but we don't want to take all the framing off here. We're just going to take off everything down to the sheathing and then apply that liquid applied membrane. After we apply that, then we'll add a secondary layer before we put the stucco back on. If you're a builder or a manufacturer or just somebody that's looking to build a house, we love to hear what your favorite weather resistant barrier is. Zip system, where it's basically the weather resistant barrier is attached to the plywood or OSB, and then you basically seal the seams. Or do you like a house wrap? I know a lot of people are fans of house wraps, and I guess your third option is, do you like a liquid applied weather resistant barrier? We'd love to hear your comments on weather resistant barriers in the comments below. Now it's very important to have these two layers, not only because it's a good practice, but it's also code. So if you don't have that, it probably works for a few years, but eventually water is going to make its way into the framing system. Now how does this affect a house for mold? Well, in this case we have some issues at the bottom, especially where we have something called reverse flashing. Now reverse flashing is where you have the house wrap or weather resistant barrier tucked inside the flashing instead of on the outside of the flashing. Now when it's on the outside of the flashing, as the water comes down, it's that flashing and goes away from the house. So in general for water you want it to be down and out, just like you have on the roof. Same thing with your siding, and same thing also with your drainage plane that is underneath the siding. So again, down and out, and also make sure you have two layers of the weather resistant barrier, and you should be good to go as far as keeping water out of your house. Now in this case that weather resistant barrier was compromised, water was getting behind it and behind the flashing. So how mold can form, and the purpose of Fresh Air Fridays is to keep indoor air quality clean, but if you have a skin in your house, that is not going to keep the water out of the house and also not allow water that's in the house to get back out, then you're going to have a mold problem. In this case, the framing was completely rotted underneath it, and eventually water is going to stay in that area and form, anytime you have organic material and you have water, then you're going to have mold. And in this case there is a little bit of mold in here. We're going to remove that, also fix all the framing, make sure it's properly sealed, flashed, has a good weather resistant barrier. Then we're going to keep the water outside of the house. So the reason I say water needs to be able to travel through that membrane, if you just put plastic on the outside of your house, that is not a weather resistant barrier. So if you have that 6 mil plastic that you get from Home Depot or hardware store, you're actually going to cause mold if you do that. You want a membrane on the outside of the house that is breathable. So the reason you want it to be breathable is in certain times of the year when water is trying to get out of the house. So if it's a higher humidity on the inside than it is outside, especially in the wintertime in most climate zones in the United States, water is trying to get out, and if it hits that barrier and it has a perm rating of 0, which means water cannot come through it, it's going to sit in that wall system. When it sits in that wall system, it's going to rot out the sheathing and eventually rot out any framing and cause mold, which is bad for indoor air quality and the occupant's health inside the house. Before you put the weather resistant barrier on, you need to make sure that the windows and doors are installed properly. For our video on proper flashing and sealing techniques, click the icon in the upper right hand corner.
Let's review some of the specifics on this house that we're going to do in order to keep water out, which is also going to prevent microorganisms such as mold, therefore helping your indoor air quality. The first thing we saw was that there is no, or the flashing is incorrect. It's reverse flashing. Reverse flashing means that you have a piece of flashing and that weather resistant barrier is tucked behind the flashing instead of going in front of the flashing. And in addition to that, as we took off additional layers, we noticed that there's only one weather resistant barrier. We need a primary resistant barrier and we need a secondary one. And this is per the code, so this is not something that we're just making up. The first weather resistant barrier is the one that does all of the work. That's the one that's on the house side. The one on top of that is called the sacrificial weather resistant barrier. And as soon as the masonry or stucco or anything else touches this, now this doesn't apply to siding, but as soon as that touches that, that one becomes negated. The next thing that we noticed that we do have an undersized gutter. So with the undersized gutter, as water's coming down the roof, it hits that gutter, it's going to overflow. And also something that's helping the gutter overflow is you have a restricted hole that goes to the downspout. It's not large enough at the transition, and that's also not helping because all the water is not able to get out of the gutter. One other thing that we like to do is enlarge the drip edge. I recommend that anytime you have drip edge on a house, especially a house like this with a larger roof or a large span on the gutter, go ahead and upgrade it to at least a 4-inch drip edge. Most roofers like to use that 2-inch drip edge, and with that 2-inch drip edge, sometimes the water can curl up underneath it, make it into the soffit or roof system, and get behind the siding and cause rot there. And we've noticed that on a lot of other houses. Didn't notice it on this particular house, but we think that that would be a good upgrade here. At any point where the roof meets the siding, we like to see kick-out flashing. And also, in order to have proper step flashing, we like to see some sort of counter flashing. And in this case, the counter flashing was there. I like to see at least where it's 5 inches off the roof. That way we have, if the step flashing is only 4 inches, it has plenty of room here. And in this case, it was slightly undersized, so they had to trim back the step flashing, which could be another point which water enters the house. Last but not least is we know that water is going to get into the system or through the stucco. That's just how siding is designed. Siding is not designed to be your first, well, it's going to keep the water off the house, but it's not going to keep all the water out of the house. So if water gets through it, it's going to hit those weather resistant barriers and drain down. Unfortunately, if you don't have a way for it to drain out, for masonry, it's weep holes. For stucco, it's something called a weep screed. And with that weep screed, what that does is allows the water to drain out and breathe. So if any water gets trapped behind it, it goes to the bottom, comes out, and you don't have water stuck in the house. Now in this case, it didn't have a weep screed, and that weather resistant barrier was tucked in behind the flashing, so all that water just got trapped there, and that's why we saw the rot.
Thanks again for watching this episode. If you enjoyed or you took something away from this video, definitely give us a thumbs up so others know that this is a good video. We've loaded up other videos just like this off to the right, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications so you can see this next time. All right, talk to you later.